Welcome back to Goldy's Closet, where real talk meets resilience, and every episode shines a light on the warriors behind the curtain. Today's guest is the definition of fierce and fearless. Erin Schmidt is a powerhouse entrepreneur, built more than just brands. She's built a legacy. From launching the award-winning Bella Vida skincare line to creating a magazine that uplifts game changers and difference makers, Erin proves that chasing your dreams isn't just possible, it's necessary. In the face of personal loss and adversity, she didn't fold. She found fire. Today we dive into her incredible journey of business, belief, and bouncing back. We'll touch on mental health, autism awareness, and why community and connection are everything. So get ready to be inspired, because Erin Schmidt isn't just making products, she's making purpose.
I just really appreciate making time to do this. I was so fascinated by your story, Erin, and went back and read through everything. And it's like, you really have done, I mean, everything there is to do in life. Like what left is there? I don't know.
Well, it'd be nice to make some money from everything I've done. I feel like I'm always chasing my tail still.
Do you really? That's a really important thing, because a lot of the women that listen to this, there are some really strong, like, women that I look up to, and I'm always like, God, look at them. And then, like, I'll give you an example. One is a photographer that I'm always like thinking, I wish I could photograph like her. I wish I could shoot like her. I wish. And then we actually met the other day on a Zoom after like following each other for forever. And it's like, Erin, it was so interesting to have her say, yeah, but I'm not making any money from this. And I'm like, what? She's like, oh yeah, I'm doing all these people for free just to build. And I'm like, she's like, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I'm like, oh my, here's me thinking, like, how could I ever keep up with this? And then to find, well, you can keep up with, if you're not getting paid, you know?
Yeah.
And other women will reveal things like that. And of course you don't want to camp out on, I'm not making, you don't want to be like that, but every once in a while it's nice to like, let people know. So like, you're in your circle, just to keep it real.
Yeah. I mean, I just started my magazine, so that's building.
Talk about that.
And yeah, and my skincare, I've been doing it 5 years, and it's, a constant ebb and flow. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess, we always have to remember there's people looking at where we are and wishing they were there, right? Like what you just said.
Yes.
And so I sometimes get down on myself because I wish I was further along, but I have to remember how far I've come. So
who do you have in your circle? Who do you have that you can, because you, like I said, you don't want to camp out too long. And some great advice that I heard years and years ago that I follow is, when something bad happens, tell one person, but don't call up the entire neighborhood and everybody on your, in your phone book, on your phone. Just tell one person. And I've got one person, my best friend in Minnesota, that I'll call and just say, this really irked me. This really bothered me. And then she'll always have some real solid thing to say. And then that's it. Then I just move on. Like, who do you have? Is it your husband, or do you have a good friend? Or
yeah, my husband. I have a couple of friends who are like business partners that I can kind of vent to and be like, sometimes it's just, the photographer behind the scenes, like, oh gosh, okay, this is happening with so and so, if it's for the magazine. But yeah, I agree. You have to just keep a positive mindset, and you don't broadcast everything that's happening to the world. That only brings you down. It brings everybody around you down. So yeah, you have to have a close-knit circle of people that you can kind of like share things with. Ashkan Tabibnia has been one of them too, who, he's a total sweetheart, and he's really helped us to build out the conglomerate we're forming, which is Bella Vida Global.
I love it.
Yeah, so I started my skincare 5 years ago, Bella Vida Santa Barbara, and it's just kind of blossomed. Like I started Bella Vida magazine. So now it's like, okay, well, Bella Vida obviously is like my branded name. So now we're creating a conglomerate, Bella Vida Global, and it's going to house a bunch of divisions.
What made you start Bella Vida skincare? Why is it different? What was the catalyst for that? Why? That's a big thing.
Yeah.
To take.
Well,
so what started it?
Yeah. So I actually am like a serial entrepreneur. I started an eBay store selling vintage and modern clothing when I lived in Portland, Oregon, like ages ago, probably 2005, 2006. And I'm like, darn, if I'd stuck with it, I could have been like Nasty Gal or something, I could have really like done it. But fashion is tough. I've done a couple other fashion websites. So I joined this course with Founder Magazine, and it was all about like, creating your own product, your own brand, not reselling, not, the only way to really make your mark in industry is to have your own concept, your own brand. Okay. And so I was like, I think I'm going to do skincare because I had cystic acne when I was younger. And
that's what I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah, it was really hard. It was embarrassing. I felt really crappy about myself, and so I can definitely relate to people who've had like any kind of acne or other skin issues. I have very sensitive skin because I'm a redhead, natural redhead. So I've always been like running from the sun. I still do. Yeah, so that was part of it. And ironically or tragically, my father actually took his own life 4 months before I launched the company. Oh. And so Beautiful Life, it took on a whole new meaning for me.
I'm so sorry. That's just awful.
Yeah, and I don't share that very often. I mean, in fact, this is maybe the first time I've actually shared that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it was really, really difficult, and it still is. So the 5-year marker of my company was very meaningful to me.
God bless.
It marks the 5-year of losing my father. And then I launched the company 4 months later on his birthday, April 4th.
Did he see what you were doing at least? Did he see any of it? Did he see like the babies?
Yeah, he did. He saw me do a couple other companies. I had a clothing t-shirt line called Differently Awesome, which was supporting special needs causes. And he was very supportive. He even had my bumper sticker on his on his car, driving around. And he had been a substitute teacher, and I kind of just lost my passion in that project, and I ended up donating all of the t-shirts that said Differently Awesome. And he was instrumental actually in helping me do that because he was substitute teaching in all these public schools in Las Vegas. And I said, I would really love it if you would donate these to special ed teachers and their classrooms. So all over Las Vegas, I think there are people wearing my t-shirts from that company. But yeah, I just kind of, he was very supportive. Both my parents were really loving and supportive.
Is your mom still here?
No, she died about 9 years before my dad. So they're both, and that's a very, it was really hard losing my dad that tragically after I'd already lost my mom to leukemia. And I was really close with my dad. So, it really...
how bad your dad must have been hurting. Like, that has nothing to do with you. When people get that depressed and that down, it is just a really deep hole that you feel you could never get out of no matter what. And it is a mental it is a mental challenge. It's mental illness. However you want to look at it, it has nothing to do with you. There's
Right.
nothing that you could have done to prevent it. There's nothing you could have said or whatever. It is a state of mind that people get in. And I don't know if you ever found out like why he did, or if he left a note or.
No, and that's what was really, really difficult. My dad was a writer. He was
And
a
he probably
poet, and he
protecting you.
didn't leave a note.
He's probably protecting you from something, literally, like in his mind, he's probably thinking
Maybe.
it's
I
better
think
that
it
I'm
was
not here.
I think it was really impulsive on his part. He was kind of an impulsive person. And I don't say that like he was just very like outgoing and gregarious, which he had the other side to him that was depressive. And yeah, it was very shocking because it just sort of came out of nowhere. And
Not you. I know you know that, but I'm just making sure that you know, like, that is
right,
his
right.
own personal journey, and I'm sorry that it ended
Yeah,
that way.
there's always regret. It's not so much guilt, it's regret. And that hole never gets filled, unfortunately. Um,
No, but you were tight with your dad. A lot of people can't say that. And
right, that's
you have
true.
a good relationship with him up until when he was gone. A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people can't even say, Erin, that they knew their dad or their dad was in the picture or gave a shit at all. And
Right,
it's like
that's
you
true. Right.
loved your dad loved you more than anything and was excited about the things that you were doing. And I know when you look back at the photo albums, and
Yeah,
I do that with my dad, and I'm like, wow, there's my dad helping me do this. And he's teaching me
yeah,
how to do this. And it's like, now that I'm older, I have a different definition or idea of what love looks like. Or,
right.
as a kid, you're like, well, how much stuff did I get? Or what did I get at Christmas or Hanukkah? Or
Mhm.
what they buy me? Where'd they take me? And now I'm looking at, I look through the pictures and I look for patience. I look for somebody that's illustrating the gift of patience. And, go back and look through that stuff and
Yeah,
heal by all the great stuff that he did.
yeah, and I do. Like I said, my dad, I talk about him in the magazine, and I dedicated the April issue to my parents, both of them, but especially my dad. And he was one of those people that, it was just it's ironic because he loved to make people laugh. He loved to go around telling jokes to everyone he met. He'd just walk up to strangers and start talking to them. And I'm not like that. I'm very shy and kind
Running from the
of,
sun.
What?
Running from the sun. I can't get that image.
Yes, that too. Yeah, I'm a Leo, but I don't really like being in the spotlight all that much. I can do it, but I'm not like, hey, look at me. And he loved being in the spotlight. He loved being, the center of attention. So yeah, I had a real special bond with him. I know he's very proud of me. You know, both my parents were very spiritual, very religious. I was raised in the church. And so they gave me a very strong faith. And so whenever I feel like, oh, I can't do this, or, life is just getting tough, I turn to that.
Okay.
And I know they're rooting me on. So that's, it feels good. I know that. I feel
Right.
the presence.
Good. That's really, really important. So we left off at you started your skincare line. You had acne, you had sensitive skin, and you started upon this journey. And then we went down that other
I
path.
know.
Okay, so let's go back.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that that's like a really big thing for me and my band
Yeah.
and our bandmates. We do a lot for suicide prevention and mental health awareness, and
Yeah.
then sometimes people just forget about the people that are left behind, that are still
Right.
here. Like, what are they dealing with? So we got to touch on that. But the skincare that you said that he got to see a little bit of you starting, it started and it launched. Like, let's start there. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So I launched it. I just started with one face mask, and now I've become an organic skincare formulator.
Okay.
So, and we've won 18 awards in just 2023, 24. Yeah, it's exciting. And I'm really proud of the brand. I did a whole rebranding. this last year, and it was all my design. So we went from like a real clean, minimal look to a more luxurious black and gold. Yeah, you know, it's hard being a solo entrepreneur. So I've had to really dig in, roll up my sleeves, learn a lot. I mentioned the course I took with Founder magazine, and that really helped me. It's called Start and Scale. I'm not paid by them. They've interviewed me probably 6 times, and I got interviewed, and I had an article in their 100th magazine, which was a really big deal. I was really shocked. Wow. So I've come a long way. And I have a lot of things that I'm working on to try to position the brand to, you know, get it out and get it more exposure, get it in major retail stores, but it's difficult. It's a very competitive market. So it's all about just being patient. You know, I've had to be very, very patient, and just when I feel like I can't do this anymore, I have to take a break and just kind of, you know, sulk and then just go, okay, all right, I'm fine. Just let's go at this from a different angle and get rejuvenated. So
I'm looking at the cover of issue 2 with you standing someplace on the rocks somewhere.
It's in Malibu, California. I should have brought the magazine so I could hold it up, but bellavidamagazine.com. I actually had someone else that was going to be on the cover, and it didn't work out. So I just said, you know what? And 2 different people, Ashcon and my other partner, Galina, had said, you should be on the cover. And I was like, I don't know about that. And it's the 5-year anniversary of the company when that launched. And I think my parents behind the scenes kind of were like orchestrating, like, no, you're going to be on the cover. So I ended up on the cover.
You look amazing. I'm enjoying looking at all this stuff.
Yeah, it's still a little weird for me because it's my magazine. So it's kind of like, I am promoting myself, but hey, I already was doing a whole feature about the 5-year journey I've been on in my skincare company, Bella Vida Santa Barbara. So Ashcon actually interviewed me, and I talk a lot about not just the skincare, but about the magazine, about Bella Vida Global. I talk about how my parents really inspired me, how they really supported me and supported my dreams. And my husband, Brady Schmidt, who he's in there as well. He's a musician and a songwriter. His stage name is Brady Wade. So there's a whole thing in there about him. And yeah, it's an exciting issue. I hope people will go and look it up and buy a digital copy or buy a printed copy. We even have a whole feature about the Monkey Man movie, which is out in theaters now with Dev Patel. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff. It's not all just about me.
Yeah, I was looking at the Monkey Man poster right now on Instagram, wondering what that's all about. Dev Patel?
Patel, yes. He was the star in Slumdog Millionaire. If you ever saw that, it was a huge hit. He was also in the Lion movie. He's a very talented actor, and he actually wrote, directed, and starred in this film. He's a black belt in, I think, Taekwondo, and he did all the fight scenes himself. So it's like, it's kind of like John Wick. I think he's got this like vendetta, and he's finding a way to get in and take care of some people who did him wrong and did his family wrong. So that's
the woman in there. There's like another.
She's stunning. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. So
no problem. Beautiful.
She's beautiful. Yes. So it's one of the first films, I believe, major, Hollywood films that has an entire cast from India.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pitabosh is like his sidekick in the movie, and my photographer, Stephen Shadrach, who took those pictures, is friends with Pitabosh, and he's like a big deal in Bollywood. And he provides a lot of comic relief in the movie, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. So it's out now, or is it in the theaters now, or is it you can stream it, or what?
Yes, both. It's in the theaters and it just hit streaming. It was last night, at least, number 2 on Apple for
that's a great feeling. You know, that's such a neat thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's out just trying to do their thing and make a name for themselves. And I'm always just so excited to see people having success, because there's so much success out there to be had by all.
Right.
So I'm always excited. And then I'm always thinking, how can I do that in a nice way?
Right. I know, right?
Let's talk a little bit about, so we've done the skincare line. It's organic. You started out with a mask, and now, like, how many products do you think that you have in your skincare line now?
I have about 17 at least. There's more than that, but those are the main products that I sell. And yeah, we have everything from serums to glass water bottles that are for detox waters to lash products, lip products. But I'm most proud of, we just won Best Vitamin C Cream for hands and body at Beauty Shortlist 2024.
Nice.
And Best Eye Serum for women, anyone 50 plus, because it has orchid stem cells. So yeah, we've done a lot. We're in a lot of high-end spas. We're in lots of, boutiques and retailers in the US, and then also Hong Kong, Macau, Australia. So, and we're breaking in slowly into Europe and Canada. It's all about the VAT taxes are a killer. So yeah, it's grown a lot, and I've even had to like pare it down so that I don't go crazy trying to manage all of that. But
definitely understand that. The magazine, what does that cover? What would people expect buying your magazine? What do they walk away with that they're going to love?
Yeah, so Bella Vida magazine, I really, Bella Vida means beautiful life. And so I want to highlight not just celebrities, but people that are making a difference in the world, people that are really impacting the world for good. And so, yes, we'll have celebrities, but they need to kind of meet that criteria. I don't want to deal with, drama queens and people that are going around treating everyone like crap, because that's why would I promote you? Go to whoever else. I won't name names. And so it's about that. It's also about luxury fashion, beauty, travel. We're going to be featuring lots of beautiful resorts, and we have musicians in there. Desi Valentine is a good friend of my husband, and they collaborated on a couple of songs. Nice. And he's just a wonderful person. If you haven't heard of him, you should Google him. He's done a lot of music. He took a break, and he is recharging. He as a musician, if you're touring and you're constantly like out doing stuff, it's very taxing emotionally and physically. And he got really burned out and had to like take time off. Mm-hmm. And now he's a spiritual mentor for other artists. Nice. So we talk about that in the magazine and how he's helping other artists to deal with the pressure of being in the limelight.
Wow, that's beautiful. Really?
Yeah. So, and there's interest stories. So autism is, April is autism awareness, and I have a daughter with autism. I myself am probably on the spectrum.
Are you?
Yes, I am. And I haven't talked about that very much either.
How does that affect you?
So when I look back at my childhood, I can kind of see how it manifested. So like I had a hard time understanding other people's reactions to what I might say, or I just would like be oblivious to the fact that I had offended them or said something they didn't like. And I was very, like I still like fidget constantly with my hands with paper and fuzzies. And I'm always like, my husband's like, what are you doing? I don't know. It's something I do. Yeah. And just having a difficult time, sometimes even making eye contact. Like my husband's like, what are you talking about? I've never noticed that. Well, that's because I've learned, I'm an adult now. I've overcome a lot of those things, but I still sometimes know, like, I'll do or say something that he's like, yeah, that was kind of Asperger's-y, that was kind of autistic. And so I haven't gotten like an official diagnosis, but I'm a speech pathologist. I've worked with kids for like hundreds of children with autism. I know what the signs are. My own daughter has autism. And I actually have a lot of people in my family, including my dad, who I definitely believe had Asperger's or high functioning autism, it's called now. But a lot of older adults don't want to get diagnosed. They don't believe they have any kind of issue, especially the higher functioning ones I've found. And it wasn't a thing. It's really like as of the 80s, it started to really, people started to understand what autism is. Mm-hmm. So I feature a lot. I kind of chickened out. I was going to write about my own autism in this April issue, and I didn't. I was just like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about this. And you're pulling it out of me somehow. I'm talking about all of the stuff I don't normally talk about.
Well, it's good and a safe place to say I talked about it. Again, mm-hmm. There's a time and place for everything, but like this. Right. This whole, it's Goldy's closet, and people always are coming into the closet or out of the closet. And it's been a really beautiful platform on a really large network for 6 years now. And now I'm expanding onto some others. So nice. It's nice to be able to talk with somebody that isn't going to, like, that's the nice thing about a podcaster is I don't judge anybody. I'm just grateful that you're sharing. And honestly, excuse me. Uh-huh. We shouldn't judge.
No, and
anybody. And if you haven't learned that, it's 2024. Like, get with the program. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's just got so much crazy stuff that they're dealing with. Well, like, cut people a break.
One of the important things that I've learned and I put in the magazine is a list of all the famous people who are on the autism spectrum. And
that's cool.
Yes, these people are people that have revolutionized our world. Thomas Edison, Mark Twain, Michelangelo, Albert Einstein, I think Madame Curie was on the list. Jerry Seinfeld has autism. Dan Aykroyd from Blues Brothers, SNL. I mean, some of these people are just trailblazers and people who have really, Elon Musk is on the list, Steve Jobs. I mean, these people had the ability to visualize and to see a future that other people couldn't grasp, and they somehow made it a reality. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of, and we talk about that in the magazine as well, the gifts and challenges of autism. There's a lot of gifts that people with autism have. There's people who are completely nonverbal, but I saw a video on YouTube that they took a helicopter and this boy is nonverbal, cannot speak. By all, standards, by most people, he would be on the intellectually disabled spectrum, but they flew over New York City and then gave him a huge canvas and with like photographic detail drew the skyline that he had just seen above New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's abilities that these people have that are just unimaginable sometimes, and they're untapped. And also my uncle has Asperger's and he's an artist. He started a gallery in Lee, Massachusetts, where he lived, called the Good Purpose Gallery. And it features, people on the spectrum and their art. And some of it is incredible. So, there's a lot of, people that might kind of look at that as like, oh, that's weird that you would say that, they're gifted. Well, yes, they have challenges, but there's also like a heightened sense of reality almost when you have autism that other people just don't know what that feels like. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still struggling with the idea that I have autism, but I think accepting it and learning to embrace it is also really important. So
I do too, and I don't have autism, but I'm severely dyslexic, where it's just kindergarten level mistakes. Like, and it's just, I used to be embarrassed by it, and people would call me out, and
yeah,
like, I don't even see it. Like, artwork that I do, like when it comes to letters and numbers, they're all backwards and duplicated. I don't even see like I'm duplicating things. I don't see it. So, I used to be embarrassed, but now I'll say, well, then proof my stuff or let me know about it. Or
right.
Clearly, who did the graphics on this. It was me. Hired out, you know who did it when it's all jacked up. But like, I see what I see, and
Right.
I don't see the letters and the numbers, but I can see other art and photography and, vision things for the stage with our band and costuming and all that. And it is what it is. Like, I do my best. I don't go, oh, well, I'm dyslexic, I don't have to ever. No, I proof my stuff.
Right.
But when I just have proofed it and really gone through it, and if there's still a mistake, I can honestly say I gave it my best shot. And then I used to have somebody who was always looking at my stuff, but they became a psychotic lesbian stalker, which happens to me a lot. So,
oh
no more proof in there, but yeah.
Oh no.
He was real good for a long time about letting me know every little thing and every hour of the day. But yeah, that just went sour quickly. If I had a dime or a dollar, boy, would I be rich. What do you want to leave people with on this podcast as to like everything that we've talked about and your life? Like, what's something really, really cool that you've learned that other people that don't have a magazine or don't have a skincare line or a hot husband who's a musician, something that everybody out there could relate to, that you've got a golden nugget that you can share with us?
Yeah. So, in my interview, I say that one of the things, looking back on everything, I wish that I had believed in myself from a younger age. I had a lot of self-esteem issues, so I just kind of was like, oh, I don't know. And so I had to learn to take a chance on myself.
Okay.
And so this company and sticking with it, I've really had to make the decision just to not give up. I just saw a video actually of Lady Gaga receiving an award. And she said, if you want to make it, first, you have to decide not to give up. And number two, you never give up. You just go back to number one. And I even said that in my interview here's some keys, but the first one is decide not to give up, because it's going to get hard. It's going to be everything you do, no matter what it is, there's always going to be some challenge, roadblock. Some are much harder than others, but instead of giving up, get help, find people that can support you, have a drink, smoke a bowl if you smoke, and just friggin' chill out and don't give up. Get your passion back and don't let your own mindset defeat you.
Words to live by. Words to live by.
I don't smoke pot, but I used to.
There's people definitely listening to that too.
I don't have any qualms about it, but it gives me panic attacks, so I don't, but whatever, go for it.
Thank you enough for taking time out of your day with how busy you are. I was so glad to meet you on the live stream that we were a part of. That was so cool. It's always nice when people reach out in the comments and are kind, and you can just tell like who the stars of that show are. It's cool. Thank you for keeping in touch. This has been Goldy's Closet episode 248 with our guest, Erin Schmidt. I'll go ahead and put all of the links in the descriptions, and we want to thank everybody for listening on whatever platform that you are. It's a really big deal. We know that you've got so many different choices when it comes to entertainment and education, and I just can't thank you enough for joining us. I always leave everybody with the same old thing of, stay safe out there, but be free. Read between the lines on that one, and always stay golden. And then we clap at the end. Okay, like the Muppet Show.
What's up, everyone? It's Goldy, Impact Wrestling, TLC's Cheapskates. Ted Nugent's running wild from him somewhere in the woods. And maybe you've seen our band, Goldilocks Band. We're out there, we're on tour, but now we're connecting on Cameo. So I want to tell you that I am here to be your humble servant, and that's whatever you need said for you, for a friend, a shout out, a golden shout out, you name it, here and on it. Now, just reminding you, keep it classy, keep it cool, and keep it above the belt. But I want to offer you something a little bit different. Just remember, if I'm not on the road and I've got access to these next beauties, we can always have da-da-da-dum. Want to make this the most amazing experience for you ever, because you deserve it, your friends deserve it, your loved ones deserve it. And just remember, I can sing you a few lines of a song. It can be from anywhere, like it can be from somewhere over the rainbow, or it could be near, far, wherever you are. It could even be on a highway to hell. It can even be from there. Oh, and keep in mind, not all requests are the same. Maybe your motivation comes with a harder edge. Maybe you need a more jagged little pill. There's nothing that I love more than playing the heel. So if you need your message delivered with more, what's the word I'm looking for? Intention? Please specify. Can't wait to connect with you on Cameo. Thanks so much for being here. Stay golden.